All right, Altitude Hoops Nation. I'm Aaron Wimstead. I'm here with Jason Briggs. This is This Week in Rec, Week 2 edition. Before we get to this week's games, we got breaking news for you. Antoine Lynch is supposedly out with a hand injury. Your thoughts on that? How does that affect the Bulls?
Fridley Bulls, Bloomington Bulls, St. Louis Park Bulls, and potentially Vegas Bulls all got a, what do you think, Twan? He's trimmed down, maybe 250-pound loss there. That's a big hole to fill. Great player, multi-time MVP, and I mean, the guy's got great hands, so it's going to be a big blow, not only to the Bulls but to him, because if anything happens to his hands, I mean, it's going to definitely knock his game down a little bit. But you know how rumors are, and I don't know if it's sour grapes from the Bulls, but there's the old personality conflict, and he just doesn't want to play with us because he's ticked off rumor going out there too. So two sides to every story, but there's no one I know who loves basketball more than Twan, or who plays more basketball than Twan. So him missing games for any reason, to me, would have to be legit.
That's what I'm thinking too.
He's not going to sit out over sour grapes.
The rumor I heard was that he was too selfish, and that was pissing off his teammates.
You feed the beast. Okay, you don't get Twan to make him a passer. You get Twan to give him the ball down low and let him eat. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, know what you're getting too.
And I'd be selfish too if I was that, to a point. But and he's not a guard, so he's not. Most of the time he's not dribbling the ball up the floor. So you got to feed him to have him be selfish.
Absolutely.
So there weren't many interesting games in Bloomington South, and not many tonight either. We'll get to those later. Yeah. But we're going to count down the top 5 rookies so far in Rec. I think we'll revisit it in a few weeks just for the hell of it. So let's start out. Number 1, we got Austin Brown from Miller Time. Played his first game last night against the Squids. He's the guy, if you were to look for a college player, he's the guy that everybody should go type into Google and try to find him.
Correct. I can hear Casey Schonauer running to his keyboard right now. So,
but
Casey.
Anyways, he's about 5'8", $145 maybe. Faster than snot, can shoot, drives a hoop.
Makes Nate Robinson look like a center.
He blew past somebody and. I don't know. He dunked on DeBoer?
I believe he went up and over DeBoer.
But yeah, he's 5.
Lanky.
Yeah.
He's a tall, lanky dude. So that's a hell of a dunk.
And 5'8" could be giving him a few inches, and he did it with ease. So, but last night he scored 30 points, had 8 rebounds, 3 steals, I think, in probably about 32, 35 minutes. Yeah. He didn't even play the whole game. Yeah. So
it's that's someone's gonna Google him. Yeah. Let's just put it that way. Let's hope the win stands. Let's hope he can stay.
That'd be great. I'd actually like for a team like them to have a good player.
Absolutely.
I think they got a good group of guys, and I think they could be good if they keep adding good players.
Problem is, Izzy's just looking them up on Facebook right now to add him for next season.
Oh, yeah, and he'll be a girls player next year. Number 2 player, he didn't play tonight, but Donnie Grutzmeyer, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, of the Squids here in Fridley. 6'3", 6'4". He's got a great low post game. He can shoot. Last week he had 27 points, 14 rebounds. I think if he was here this week, the Squids easily would have won.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a little older, but for an older guy making his debut, he looked great last week. And yeah, they lost by 2 in overtime tonight. One of the close games this week, and yeah, he'd absolutely made the difference.
So our third's kind of a grouping.
It's a big group.
We're gonna weighing in at 700 pounds and 6'8", 6'9" apiece. Ken Maxey and Montreal Yancey, both UH players for a long time. I think Yancey's won a few championships with UH Classics.
Yeah, sure. But Maxey has as well.
So Montreal's playing with last minute. Maxey's playing with the Bulls. Supposedly he was going to join Big Smash, but with Twan leaving, that's a pretty good add.
That's a nice pickup. Yeah, both just hit 40, so they get to make their rec debuts. Although Yancey played through a technicality, another Wessel's error. Let Yancey play for a season. So I had the chore of trying to guard him last night, and you just can't move. You can't move him. So he's got soft touch. It was a turn, and I don't even know if he was looking at the hoop half the time. The shot went up and it bounced around and it went in. So he's an absolute force. Not necessarily on the defensive end. I mean, he needs subs. They could use him smarter, but when he's fresh, he's such a load. He's really tough. And Maxey, I heard, was going to be on Big Smash with Sonny, but he would have been their 9th player. Don't let the fact that they started with 4 guys last night and played 10 minutes with only 4 kind of lead you down the wrong path, because they have 8. Mike was there. They have 8 guys now, so Maxey would have made 9. Ended up joining the Bulls. I don't know how that transaction went down, but he's just a great player. He really is, and he's still, for being that big, he still moves pretty well too. So,
yeah, and especially with his age and everything, he's got good low post moves. He does a good job of rebounding, grabbing at the high point, and so that'll be interesting. It's cool to have those guys in the league.
Yeah, it's about time we get some 40-year-olds back here. So Krebs, Munzel, I don't know how long you got, but we're waiting for you. Come on down.
Yeah, that'll be fun too.
Although I'll be 36.
I think Munzel's got a few years. I think he's 37, 38. So, but he'll score 40 points a game.
Absolutely.
4th player, we got Sean Malowicki. Again, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Playing for them, give them kind of the size they need. He's about 6'4", 6'5". Plays well in the post. He plays good defense from what I've seen, and he's scoring on them where scoring's pretty evenly
distributed,
spread out. I think he's scoring about 13, 14 points a game.
Yeah, he probably weighs 135 pounds. I mean, carrying a bucket of water, and he looks like, with his hair, he could be Yugoslavian or Lithuanian or something like that. And, Croatian, yeah, maybe Bosnian, Definitely affected by Slobodan Milosevic way back.
He does have the European hair.
Yeah, but good shooter. Take it to the hoop. Skies for rebounds. Got a crazy vertical. So he's a good addition to that team.
Number 5.
Just a quick thing. Just a secret between us. Izzy's horrible. He should get fired. But just don't tell him that I said that.
You're kind of ruining our second act here, because that's what we're gonna go with. But it's all right. It's all right.
I apologize. And just one last thing. We were actually down by 6 last week, and I still do have the G6. So just want to...
Good. Great clarification. Thank you.
Hot Tub Tony, everybody.
Number 5.
Number 5.
On Pass the Rock. What's his name?
Pass the Rock. Hit a game winner tonight. We got Joseph Dalal. I didn't see much of the game tonight. I did catch the game winner, and you said he had a pretty good big game, and I guess, or that Chris was telling me that he hit the game tying shot to go into overtime too.
Hit the game tying shot, hit the game winning shot, had a couple of key assists down the stretch. They were actually down 5 with about 19 seconds left, and they came back to force an overtime. He hit some big threes, got some boards, got some steals. He looks like a good player, and his brother's in the team too. Bigger guy. Again, they have good chemistry. It's not quite our Sam and J Sam, but they're not too shabby.
He did borrow my shoes last week to play,
nice.
So it could be that.
Good luck.
Maybe. So let's get on to tonight's games. Let's talk about Bloomington South first.
All right. I just got a couple points on Bloomington South. Number 1, the Crusaders poached a guy from the Squids, giving them 9 players. You're not that old. You're not the Red Devils, and sorry, Red Devils, because, you don't need 9 either. But how do you get into a flow with 9 guys? There's not line changes. You're always having guys like, I just got in here. Or, there's no one to come out for. There's no rhythm. Either you like basketball or you don't. And if you like basketball, you can't be afraid to sweat. And that means you might have to play more than 20 minutes. So I don't know how the chemistry is going to work in that team. they're a playoff team. They've made the playoffs a few times. They had a big win over them in the playoffs last season. And then the roster always changes just enough to where you're wondering, what the heck's going on with this team? And now they come in with 9. They already had 8. They grabbed this guy off the free agents. Good player. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but what's the point? 9 guys. No one's going to be happy with their minutes. And worst of all, I don't think it helps you win. I think it leads to more losses than wins. So, just not happy with that.
And I think, you know, GM Brandon said, yeah, you know, we were at, or, you know, the Squids were at 9 or 10 players. They were looking to get rid of them just for that reason. And
they weren't looking to get rid of him because he's a bad player, but they had 8 week 1. Brandon didn't even show up. So he hasn't been there yet, and I think they had 7 or 8 last night too. So he did the Squids a favor by evening out those minutes a little bit, but Crusaders, what the hell are you thinking? It's frustrating.
So probably the only good game of Bloomington South last night we're talking about. The Squires beat the Goodfellas by 3.
Yeah.
I think the Goodfellas only had 5, but it was a good 5.
I think they had
6, maybe.
I think they may have had 6, yeah. Because I think Chase came late. So I think they started with 5 and Chase came late. Squires, nice bounce back game. Lost to the Muskies last week, sorry. But they're kind of getting used to playing without Hamill, and it's not very easy. Added a new guy named Bo. Had a pretty good game. Had a pretty solid game. They just kind of outworked the Goodfellas. Goodfellas don't look like a team that made it to the Final Four last year, and I get that Twan is not there. It's a huge loss, obviously. But there's a few little things that they don't do anymore. The spacing is poor. It's a lot more one-on-one than it was last year. I love Garland, but he's just forcing it just a little too much in that team. Just a little bit too much. And if they'd use their teammates, they'd be better. But I think they were 7-1 last season, made it to the Final Four, and they're 0-2 to start this season. So you've already lost more in 2 weeks than you did last season. So
yeah, I mean the Squires playing all the Hamill. You know, I think could actually be a good thing for them. I think, you know, now they have more guards, they're spreading it out more. I liked Bo's game. He actually played before. He would have been on the top 5 new rookies. Lefty, great going to the hoop. Looks like he, you know, wasn't falling for him last night, but looks like he's got a good shot.
No,
so I like their pickup.
Good player. One more game that was kind of interesting. Broncos versus Shockers. Fairly close game. Broncos got their asses kicked week 1 by the Crusaders. Showed up with 5 guys. They got 2 more in this week. I believe Todd and Jacob showed up this week. And they played against the Shockers, who stomped the Bulls last week. And it was a complete reversal of fortune. The Broncos are a rough team. I wouldn't say they're dirty. They're just really physical. And the Shockers could not handle it. Their offense looked horrible. MVP Jake did not look like an MVP last night. Ethan had a tough night. It was a big bounce back win for the Broncos and kind of knocked the Shockers back to earth, because after that win you're kind of wondering, all right, did they figure some things out? They got a new guard. They lost the two brothers who didn't really play very much and kind of disappeared towards the end of the season. Like, is this team going to make a run? They sure got chemistry. They play with each other in the Pigeons too, but I don't know. That offense is rough.
Yeah, and the Red Devils lost too, right?
Yeah.
And who'd they beat?
They beat
week 1. They beat them by like 15 or 16 too. And there you're thinking too, Red Devils have a good team, and then they show up last night and they look like a totally different team.
And Ridge Show hasn't even got Bittner back yet, so I know they lost.
Coming back?
Yes, week 3 he told me. So
he didn't break his foot.
I don't know. I think he's still just milking that foul. So, one more Bloomington controversy while we're talking here. Chad Wessels called 3 jersey techs on the Ridge Show because they were wearing Sock Thumpers jerseys with UH jerseys. So they had 1 team jersey and Ultimate Hoops jerseys like the rule states, but because they didn't say Riddlers on them or Ridge Show or Ridge Show 2.0, he assessed them 3 jersey techs. He came over, I'm going to say kind of boastfully, talking about how he just teed him up 3 times, and then I was able to convince him to take those away. Because listen here, I'm on the blue chips, or been a blue chip for years. People who haven't seen the movie probably don't know where Western comes from. That's the school in the movie, the Western Dolphins. So by Chad's rules, and the rule he was trying to enforce, we would get teed up every game because it says Western and not blue chips. People know that team is made up of sock thumpers and riddlers. Just let it go. Talk about taking the rule a little bit too far, a little bit too literally. So Chad, come on, man. Either retire or get in the game.
I like the enforcement of the jersey rule, but yeah, don't take it too far. Fridley tonight, again, not much to talk about. We don't have a Devin last-second game-winning shot, but Squids Miller time went into overtime.
Squids pass the rock.
Squids pass the rock.
Yeah.
But Squids pass the rock goes into overtime.
Yeah.
Again, I think.
Jalal with a.
They were down
by 5 with they're down 3. They foul the guy with 19 seconds left. He makes the first free throw, puts his arms up, and then number 32 on their team, whose name escapes me, says it's over. And then someone says it's not over yet. He's like, no, it's over. And then the guy makes the next free throw and puts him up 5. Come down, 3-pointer, turnover, comes down, hits the game-tying shot, goes into OT. And in OT, oh man, the Squids just were forcing everything. Brandon forced 2 tough shots. One was horrible, and one he got a nice steal and got hacked, no call, and he was down on the floor for a while. But then the last play, guy got the ball under the hoop. He had so many open guys, and he just he got trapped, and he chucked it and stolen and was gone. But nice pass the rock, new team. Squids, ton of new players, just a bunch of guys new to the league. It was great to see an overtime game like that. And pass the rock, first win as a franchise.
Yeah, no, it was interesting last 20 seconds. I think after Squids tied it up, pass the rock almost turned the ball over probably 2 or 3 times, and then Joseph ended up with the ball and he drove to the hoop. It was a great drive and makes a shot. And then the Squids have probably. I think Brandon was wide open and Aaron Alstrom was wide open under the hoop. They had but they just didn't get the ball to him. And
yeah, and Dalal. They could have called a timeout. They had options. Some underrated things that Joseph, in 2 separate occasions, was on the verge of turning the ball over, end of regulation and end of overtime, and used a key timeout to stop it. So, I mean, he won him that game. He won him that game. Celtics. Callahan, another close game tonight. I'm wondering why they decided to go 5-on-5 though, when the entire game was just a one-on-one competition. So, I mean, yeah, great, congratulations. I don't know what you're prepping for. It ain't playoff basketball, but good win. Good win.
And then the 5-5 beat the Blazers by 14. That was kind of surprising me.
Yeah, I mean, Fob's going to suck in the playoffs, so who cares? Big win by Malice tonight. You ought to know, got so close against Off Constantly, who I don't know why they keep running with the same whack 5 every week, but they do. They're going to have to get some subs sometime. Marmol was a man amongst boys in the first half, and it was a good team ball in the second that held off the run, but you ought to know, so close. I mean, they're 0-2 by a combined 6 points. So
well, and I think they were down by 15 or
right.
Early. If they didn't get down early, I think it would have been a different story because they started clicking too late in the game.
They got them tired and made a little run. They passed them. They got up by a few. But their substitution patterns are not what they need to be. When you got 7 guys and you're playing against a team with 5, run them in and out. There should be no one sitting there for 6 or 7 minutes, and they did that way too much in the second half, and then you get everyone tired at once. So your advantage, your strength in numbers, is diminished because all your guys are tired.
Well, any final thoughts heading into week 3?
Sonny's got to step it up. Both leagues. Here, I mean, I was really, really proud of him for being able to pull Maxey to wreck. And then I have to watch from the other court Maxie play for the Bulls, and it made me sick to my stomach. So
He was my source. He was my source too.
better luck next time, Sonny. Right?
Wild are up. Wild won tonight.
It was 3-1 with a minute left. Series will end in 5 games with a Wild victory. St. Louis, the young goaltending is just not there yet.
I was watching ESPN before tonight, and Barry Melrose said that was the team to beat. So I think if we beat them, hopefully we can get past the Blackhawks or whoever else.
2017 Stanley Cup champions will be the St. Louis Blues. They're just not their time yet.
Sonny?
I blame Greg Wills for that Ken Maxey deal.
All right, guys. That's it for week 2. We'll see you next week.